The final warning. Captain Elena Reeves stood motionless on the observation deck of the UES Thunderbolt, the massive warship that carried humanity's most dangerous message. The stars stretched endlessly before her, cold and indifferent to the brewing storm. Her reflection in the reinforced glass showed a woman hardened by conflict, short black hair framing a face with eyes that had seen too much death. "Captain, message payload is prepped and ready," reported Commander Jackson, her tactical officer. His voice carried the weight of their mission. "Thank you, Commander." Elena's voice remained calm despite the churning in her stomach. This wasn't just another military operation. This was potentially the beginning of the end for an entire species, either humanity or the Creveri Collective. The Creveri had struck without warning 3 weeks ago. 7 human outposts wiped from existence in a coordinated attack that left no survivors. 30,000 lives snuffed out in minutes. The crystalline aliens had been pushing into human space for years, but this crossed the final line. Elena turned from the viewport and marched toward the command deck, every step purposeful. The crew worked with practiced efficiency, but she could feel the tension. Everyone aboard knew the gravity of their mission: deliver humanity's final warning. "Open broadcast channels on all frequencies," she ordered as she took her seat in the command chair. "Include their military bands and civilian networks." "Channels open, Captain," the communications officer replied. Elena took a deep breath and nodded. The cameras activated, capturing her image to be transmitted across the void to every Creveri vessel and colony within range. "This is Captain Elena Reeves of the United Earth Coalition," she began, her voice steady and resolute. "This message is directed to the Creveri High Command and all Creveri citizens. For too long, we have endured your encroachment, your threats, and now your direct attacks on our colonies." She leaned forward slightly, her eyes boring into the camera. "Let me be absolutely clear. This stops now. What you have misinterpreted as weakness was restraint. What you saw as fear was patience. Humanity has weapons you cannot comprehend, capabilities you have not imagined. We have chosen not to use them because we value life, even yours." Elena paused, letting the silence emphasize her next words. "But our patience has reached its end. This is humanity's final warning. Attack us again, and you will cease to exist. Not just your fleets, not just your military. Your entire species will be erased from history. This is not a threat. This is a promise." She cut the transmission with a gesture, the bridge falling silent as her words hung in the air. "Think they'll listen?" Jackson asked quietly. Elena stood, her expression grim. "They'd better. For their sake." The Thunderbolt continued its journey deeper into the contested space, the massive ship's engines humming with barely contained power. It wasn't just carrying a message, it was the physical embodiment of that message. The vessel represented the largest warship humanity had ever built, bristling with weapons that most of the crew didn't even fully understand. "Captain, we're picking up movement at the edge of the Epsilon sector," reported Lieutenant Chen, her eyes fixed on the sensor displays. "Creveri signatures. 1 Scout-class vessel, moving on an intercept course." "They didn't waste any time," Elena remarked. "Maintain current speed and heading. Let them come to us." The bridge crew exchanged glances. The Creveri scout ships were known for their speed and stealth capabilities, not their firepower. This wasn't an attack. Not yet. It was a test. "They're scanning us," Chen announced. "Full spectrum sweep." Elena nodded. "Let them look. Activate Shade Protocol." The word sent a chill through the bridge. Shade Protocol was new, untested in actual combat scenarios. It was psychological warfare designed specifically for the Creveri, whose crystalline neural networks processed information differently than human brains. Throughout the Thunderbolt, specialized projectors activated, sending out carefully calibrated pulses of energy that would interact with Creveri sensory systems. To the alien scouts, it would appear as if the human vessel was larger, more powerful, surrounded by flickering shadows that hinted at hidden weapons and capabilities that weren't actually there. "Shade protocol active," confirmed the tactical officer. "They're seeing ghosts." Alina's lips curved into a cold smile. "Good. Now open a direct channel to that scout." When the connection established, she didn't wait for the Creveri to speak. "Creveri vessel, this is Captain Reeves. You have received our message. Consider this your personal demonstration. You are currently detecting capabilities that frighten you, technologies you don't understand. This is merely a fraction of what we can unleash. Return to your command and deliver our warning. Next time, we won't be talking." She cut the communication and turned to Jackson. "Prepare for potential hostilities. They might decide to test our resolve." Minutes passed in tense silence as the scout maintained its distance, continuing to scan the Thunderbolt. "Captain," Chen called out suddenly, "they're powering weapons." Alina didn't hesitate. "Target their propulsion systems only. Single shot, minimum yield. Show restraint, but make the point." The Thunderbolt's main cannon charged with a low hum, then released a precisely calculated energy pulse. The shot streaked across space, striking the Creveri scout with surgical precision. The alien vessel spun, its engines flickering and dying. "Direct hit," Jackson confirmed. "Their propulsion is offline, but life support appears intact." "Now send this," Alina ordered. "Consider that a sample, a taste of what awaits if you continue this path. We could have vaporized your vessel with a thought. Remember that when you report back to your commanders." The disabled scout drifted silently, its crystalline hull reflecting the distant starlight. "They're sending a distress signal," Chen reported. "Multiple Creveri vessels responding. Estimated arrival time, 20 minutes. Alina nodded. "Perfect. We'll wait right here. Let them come and see what happens when you test humanity's patience." As the minutes ticked by, tension mounted on the bridge. The tactical display showed 5 Creveri warships approaching rapidly. Not just scouts this time, but full battle cruisers. "They're forming an attack pattern," Jackson warned. "Weapons hot." Alina remained seated, eerily calm. "Activate the Lazarus Array." The command was met with wide eyes. The Lazarus Array was classified technology, something most of the crew had only heard rumors about. "Captain," Jackson whispered, "are you sure?" "That's—" "Do it, Commander," Alina cut him off. "It's time they understand exactly what they're dealing with." Throughout the nearby sector, something impossible began to happen. The debris field from an old battle, wreckage from both human and Creveri ships destroyed years ago, began to move. Dead ships sparked to life, running on emergency power cores that should have been depleted long ago. Not just one or two, but dozens of vessels rising like ghosts from their graves. The approaching Creveri fleet faltered, their formation breaking as they detected the sudden appearance of a phantom armada. "How is this possible?" gasped one of the junior officers. Alina didn't answer, her eyes fixed on the tactical display. The resurrected ships weren't actually combat-capable. They were hollow shells animated by remote systems, a grand illusion created by years of secret preparation. But the Creveri didn't know that. "Open channel to all Creveri vessels," she ordered. When the link was established, she spoke clearly and deliberately. "This is humanity's technology. We do not fear death because we have mastered it. Even our destroyed ships rise to fight again. This is your final chance. Retreat now, take our warning to your leaders, and live. Stay, and witness what happens when humanity is pushed too far." On the tactical display, the Creveri fleet hesitated, their ships holding position just outside weapons range. "They're communicating among themselves," Chen reported. "Lots of encrypted transmissions." Alina watched silently, counting the seconds. This was the moment of truth. Would the Creveri back down, or would they force humanity to demonstrate the true extent of their capabilities? After what seemed like an eternity, the Creveri vessels began to turn, their engines flaring as they accelerated away from the confrontation. They're retreating, Jackson confirmed, unable to keep the surprise from his voice. No, Alina corrected him, her expression unchanged. They're regrouping. This was just the first test. They'll be back, with their full fleet. She stood, facing her crew with determination burning in her eyes. And when they do, we'll be ready to deliver on our promise. The Reckoning. 3 days after the encounter with the Criveri scout ships, the Thunderbolt maintained position at the boundary of contested space. Alina hadn't slept more than a few hours, spending most of her time reviewing tactical scenarios and intelligence reports. Captain, Commander Jackson approached with a data tablet. Long-range sensors are picking up massive energy signatures. The Criveri are mobilizing their main battle fleet, at least 30 capital ships, plus support vessels. Alina accepted the tablet, studying the information with a grim expression. So they've made their choice. Alert Earth Command. Initiate Prometheus Protocol. The word sent a chill through the command deck. Prometheus was not a bluff. It was the codename for humanity's ultimate deterrent, a weapon system so powerful that most of Earth's population didn't know it existed. Deep in the outer reaches of the solar system, hidden beneath the surface of a classified asteroid, automated systems activated. Massive energy cores that had lain dormant for years began to charge. The Prometheus array was awakening. Captain, Lieutenant Chen interrupted. We're receiving a transmission. It's from the Criveri High Command. Alina raised an eyebrow. This was unexpected. Put it through. The main screen flickered, revealing a Criveri commander. Their crystalline form shimmered with internal light, faceted surfaces reflecting colors that human eyes struggle to process. I am Supreme Commander Vexnar of the Criveri Collective, the alien's translated voice stated, each word precisely measured. Your ultimatum has been received and considered. Alina kept her expression neutral. And we find it curious. Your species has shown remarkable resilience, but your threats exceed your known capabilities. We require proof of these weapons you claim to possess. Otherwise, we must conclude this is desperation, not strength. It was a challenge, plain and simple. The Criveri didn't believe humanity could back up their warning. Alina leaned forward. Commander Vexnar, I understand your skepticism, but trust me when I say, you do not want the proof you're asking for. The Criveri's crystalline form shifted slightly. A movement that Alina had learned indicated amusement or dismissal. Yet we do, Vexnar replied. We have selected an uninhabited moon in the contested zone. These are the coordinates. Demonstrate your capability there, or we will consider your warning empty words. The transmission ended abruptly. Alina turned to her tactical officer. They're calling our bluff. Jackson nodded grimly. What are your orders, Captain? Alina was silent for a long moment. Set course for the designated coordinates and contact Earth Command. Tell them we need a limited demonstration of Prometheus. As the Thunderbolt approached the designated moon, a barren, lifeless rock orbiting a gas giant, the Criveri fleet maintained formation at a distance. They were watching, waiting to see if humanity could deliver on their claims. Prometheus array reports ready, Captain, Jackson announced. Earth Command has granted authorization for a Level 2 demonstration only. Alina nodded. Level 2 was sufficient. A full deployment would have been unconscionable, even against an uninhabited target. All hands, prepare for energy shielding, she ordered. Notify the Criveri fleet to maintain their distance and engage all protective systems. Begin countdown. The bridge fell silent as the seconds ticked away. Alina watched the barren moon on the view screen, feeling the weight of what they were about to do. Prometheus activation in 3, 2, 1. There was no beam, no visible projectile. For a moment, it seemed as if nothing had happened. Then, the moon's surface began to shimmer, as if reality itself was becoming unstable. The effect spread rapidly, encompassing the entire satellite. Energy readings off the scale, Chen reported, her voice hushed with awe. The moon didn't explode. It simply ceased to exist. Matter converted directly to energy in a precisely controlled reaction, leaving nothing behind but a briefly visible distortion in space where the celestial body had been moments before. Silence gripped the bridge. Even though they'd known what Prometheus could do, seeing it in action was something else entirely. "Send to the Criveri fleet," Elena said quietly. That was approximately 1% of Prometheus's full capacity, directed with precision at a single target. The full array can be focused anywhere in this sector, including your homeworld. This is not a weapon we wish to create, but you forced our hand. Attack us again, and this will be the fate of the Criveri Collective. For several minutes, there was no response from the alien fleet. Then, a transmission came through. "Captain Reeves." Vexnar's voice had lost its earlier confidence. "The Criveri High Command requests immediate diplomatic channels to discuss terms of mutual non-aggression." Elena exchanged glances with her senior officers before responding. "We are prepared to discuss peace, Commander. But understand this. It will be peace between equals, not the subjugation you originally planned for us." "Understood," came the reply. "We will withdraw our forces from contested space as a gesture of good faith. Negotiators will contact your diplomatic corps within one rotation." As the communication ended, a collective breath was released on the bridge. The Criveri fleet was already beginning to pull back, their formations breaking as they prepared to return to their own territory. "Did we just win a war without fighting it?" Jackson asked quietly. Elena's expression remained solemn. "Maybe. Or maybe we just showed the galaxy a weapon too terrible to use. I'm not sure which is worse." She stood, facing her crew. "For now, our mission is complete. Humanity has delivered its message. We've shown that we're not to be underestimated, that our patience has limits. But this isn't a victory to celebrate. It's a reminder of the responsibility that comes with power." In the days that followed, formal peace negotiations began between Earth and the Criveri Collective. The terms were surprisingly favorable. The aliens retreated from all contested territories and offered reparations for the destroyed colonies. 2 weeks after the demonstration, Elena sat alone in her quarters, reading the latest update from Earth Command. The message confirmed what she had suspected. Prometheus had been deactivated and partially dismantled. Humanity had shown it could destroy worlds, but in the end, they chose not to hold the galaxy hostage to fear. A notification chimed, informing her that the Thunderbolt would be returning to Earth. Their mission was complete. Elena looked out at the stars, thinking about how close they had come to interstellar war. The Criveri had learned that humans weren't the easy prey they'd thought, that beneath humanity's diplomatic overtures and peaceful settlements lay a steel core and the willingness to fight when pushed too far. "One more strike, and you'll cease to exist," she murmured, echoing the warning they delivered. It had worked, this time. But Elena knew that in the vastness of space, there would always be new challenges, new threats. Humanity had made its stand as a power to be respected, not feared. And perhaps that was the most important message of all.